Flash, flash, 100-yard dash. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're going to talk about offense teams today for 3v3. It's been a month, and we're all out of practice. Of course, we're out of memory, and it's going to be great. We're going to talk about these teams. But due to feedback, I'm actually incorporating Galactic Legends into this. There's not going to be any overlap between this and my defense video, which will be out. You can find the link to it in the video description, though. It won't be out immediately. It might not even be out today. Not sure exactly what my schedule is going to be. However, we're going to be releasing both of these in the next, couple days at the very least. Anyways, let's get to the actual discussion. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button on our way, folks. Please. Would really appreciate that. You're amazing. And everything, if I can find the right button, we'll just go. Here we are. Whoa, wait, what? We're in the game? Whoa, madness. How'd we get in the game? Oh, man. This is awesome. Okay. So, Galactic Legends first. This is on offense. Remember, folks, it's like the pirate code. It's more like guidelines, You don't have to do it this way. This is the way I was doing it some last season, and this is how I was doing, this is one acceptable way of doing it. It's not the sole method of truth. I will point out a few of these things. We're going to also try to move through these teams fairly quickly. So we've got Jedi Master Luke with Barriss and Yoda. There's no getting past it. Grandmaster Luke is just not as good in threes just because he has fewer people to use his amazing protection stuff. Remember, Relic 9 is really good. I like this for offense lately, just because on defense, he's kind of a liability. There's a lot of different teams you can use to off-meta him, and on offense, he still takes out a lot of different good things. The configuration of Jedi, of course, is pretty important. Barriss is nice for the healing and the cleanse, even better than that. And then Yoda, of course, he does some damage, but he takes a lot of turns, which is really nice. Jedi Master Kenobi always goes with Cat, basically, folks. In 3v3, maybe you could get away with taking Cat away, but honestly, he gives her the ability to wipe out one character that you don't have to worry about. 1/3 of the opponent's team, which can be really useful if you're working on a timetable, trying to get your ult before, like Sith Eternal, destroys your entire team, etc. And, Sith Eternal is going to be an interesting one on defense this season, actually, folks, just because sometimes he can get his ult, but he's not going to get it as quickly. That being said, Kenobi can kill anything on the table, most likely without a really good Datacron, and that's the thing. He just lost his overpowered Datacrons from set 1. He's going to still have some Jedi Datacrons, which are good, but they're not as good as they used to be, and like the turn meter ones that everyone tried to stock up on aren't going to apply to him because he can't gain turn meter. He's going to be a really strong offensive tool on defense. I think there are going to be a lot of teams that beat him, actually. It's going to be very interesting to see. Like, for instance, I think Dash has a decent chance of taking him out if Cat chooses not to kill Vander Chewie immediately. That being said, Sith Eternal is also pretty good on offense. Remember that we're going to be keeping a lot of Galactic Legends for offense. That's how the game is kind of played. You can put more on defense, but they're the ones that have the most offensive flexibility. And 3v3 is much more about problem solving on a grand scale of trying to take out a ton of teams really efficiently. And it's much more of an efficiency game and putting a lot of Galactic Legends on defense, whereas it can be a little bit trendy. A lot of people are doing it lately. It can be really problematic if you don't have the right counters for on offense. You get into these half-board situations that kind of get out of control, and you start hating your opponent's life. Now, you have Supreme Leader Kylo on offense as well, because he can be countered really easily by a couple different off-metas, including Jedi Revan with Armorer, of all things. Well, Jedi Revan and Jedi Luke with Armorer. But you also, on offense, you can take two different versions. So this is one of the few versions of overlap. This little triangle with the exclamation mark is telling us, hey, look, because I have the unique only box checked, it's saying, hey, there's overlap. So this is just to show there's two different versions of this team you could take. I tend to think that the version with Old Daka and Zombie is usually stronger. You're going to drop some banners, obviously, because Daka and Zombie can't really cover their banners. But with Crew and Hux here, it's nice because Hux denies them the ability to gain turn meter, which is sometimes what you need. Supreme Leader Kylo in 3s, he's okay. I mean, he drops fewer banners just because there's fewer banners to drop, and that's nice because he doesn't care about his team at all. Old Daka and Zombie, usually what you want to be taking, because Hux and Crew can be used a lot of other places. Now, I put these two bounty hunter teams together for offense just because they do a good job of supporting each other in various situations. Fennec lead with Greef and Mando can work really well together. Boss, Greef, Mando against most other things. And then Zam can fit in sometimes. I mean, even Scion of Django, you can put Bam in there. It's kind of just a mix and match these days. I think for the best banners, you're going to usually take Boss lead. And a lot of times people don't end up using Fennec. They throw her on defense, but then she ends up being fairly easy to kill as well. One nice thing about Fennec is that she has special offense, and so she's going to be able to hit a lot of things that have a lot of dodge, but don't have a ton of deflection. Remember, this Datacron set is going to be a really frustrating one because everyone is going to be dodging or deflecting because of the awesome Datacrons, and Fennec may end up helping you solve a lot of that. If they're trying to just dodge, her special damage can actually help you. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of different characters that won't miss, and that can be really nice. Like Boba is really good there. Django is actually really good on bounty hunter teams as well because he sets them on fire, which reduces their evasion rate by a huge margin. Now you have Veers and the Dark Trooper Piat comp. Remember, if you get a Datacron for them, one of the really nice ones is the grit one, not because it helps them survive more. I mean, it does a little bit, but usually they don't want anyone to take a turn. The reason you want grit is because it gives you a buff, which gives you 10% more turn meter, and that's really helpful for an already pretty quick Piet. Keep in mind, in 3v3, a lot of times you're going to be missing that bridge character like Stark, and you want Dark Trooper to be the one who bridges it, so he has to be within 20% of Admiral Piet after their plus 20 and everything. I actually have a calculator on my Patreon. If you guys feel the need, you can sign up for that Patreon in the video description, and I have a whole bunch of calculators you guys can use. It's really fun. It's one of the many perks being my patron. So you can even be my friend on Discord, which is crazy. Alright, on offense too. So here's the thing, guys. The Commander Luke team, even with his crazy Datacron, a lot of times people are making it so that this team can't actually even get a turn at all. Like you can use Iden on it, you can use troopers on it, all this different stuff. And whereas the Commander Luke team can be good, even with the turn meter, I mean, it can be good on defense. It seems like people just take it out really easily lately on defense, and so I keep it on offense sometimes. The one nice thing is that you have some good banner recovery with Commander Luke and Chupio. Chupio does the protection 10% thing, or maybe it's 15, I don't remember, but the Commander Luke can switch his stances and recover, and I mean, it's good. You can also, the nice thing about this is then you can mix and match if you decide you really want to use Luke with Han and Chewie, which is actually sometimes preferable. You're going to be able to do well with them in that regard as well. They're more flexible, because I do think I have Han and Chewie on offense in this current build. The Commander Luke team can be very good on defense as well. Just depends on what your opponent is using and what kind of build you have. Also, he has a really good Datacron. If you want to put that Datacron on defense, I mean, there's actually the one that's best for him in threes is not the one where he switches stances and moves whenever someone else does. It's the one that gives him more turn meter when bad things happen to him, I believe. So something to keep in mind. This Jedi Revan team with Mace, this is the one that I was using to kill Malgus all of last 3v3 season, well, at least for all of it that we had against Malgus. The problem with it is we didn't have the Malgus Datacron, which I don't know how much that changes things. This team was very, very successful in that. Keep in mind that Mace is just nice because he stops people from being in stealth. He's just like, hey, lights on, guys. No stealthy, sneaky stuff. And it's very effective. He calls an assist. Luke calls assists. Jedi Revan calls assists. All of them just do a lot of really cool stuff. And if you have the good Datacron for Jedi Knight Luke, this team is really, really good. We're going to try it against Malgus this season, and my guess is that against Relic 9 Darth Malguses with the awesome Datacron, this is going to come up short sometimes, or it's at least going to get really scary, but it'll be interesting to see everyone fail first. Before we all decide, we have to just treat Malgus like he's a galactic legend. It's very interesting. Now, Hux with the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, this team is very strong because everyone gets 100 speed while they have advantage. Of course, Hux is the one who provides advantage. Then your opponent can gain bonus turn meter. And remember, this is the last season of people having 1,000,000 turn meter crons on all light side teams. And that being said, we still have to deal with it for 9 more matches. And Hux says, how about you don't gain all that freaking bonus turn meter? Sortie is especially hilarious. If Sortie has BB-8 with her, General Hux is like, you know what, I know that you want to be 1,000 plus starting speed, but you're actually just going to start at like, less than 400, hopefully. So it's kind of fun. Remember, if you're planning this team the way you did when you had Crew in 5v5, Crew lead gives everyone 30 speed, and obviously he's not here to give lead, so subtract your 30 speed, dude. Okay? Or dudette. Now, Wampa, I mean, he womps, man. He's really good. Mod him for tenacity, mod him for whatever. One nice thing about him is he doesn't miss on basic. His AoE can miss, but in this age of dodge, deflect, dip, dodge, dive, whatever, he's going to be worth even more. So keep in mind, though, you also don't have Datacrons with tenacity on them anymore because that one is expired. It's gone. Gonzo. And also, you might not want to put a lot of dodge or deflect on him because you want him to be getting hit and generating turn meter and off of his counters and everything. So something to keep in mind. Some characters kind of want to get hit. They don't want to get dodged. Now, Bando with Han and Chewie, this team can take down quite a few different teams. It's very versatile, especially if you have the cool Datacron that lets Bando just spam his protection thing. It's really good. Keep in mind, man, I want to see what this does against the really good General Skywalker version. This could be good. It could also just maybe not work. I'm not sure. Like, spamming the damage immunity is really nice from Bando. I would like to see where that leads. Not really sure how that would do against General Skywalker, though. We'll have to experiment. But we have a couple more seasons of that, though, of course, only one more season of 3v3 doing it. Now, Dash has his new Datacron, and whereas I like him on defense quite a bit, I think on offense is where I'm going to be using him the most, because he's got the cool one where every time your opponent takes a turn, you take a turn. He just keeps spamming his offense. He does a lot of cool stuff. As long as Vader Chewie doesn't die, I'm going to try to get him to Relic 7 before lock. And then, of course, young Lando is going to have his huge hit reduced all the time because he's going to be regaining his whatever it's called all the time, his prepared. Remember, you need the Omicron on Dash to really take advantage of that Datacron, and if you don't have the right Cron and you need the level 9 version, no other version is going to be nearly as strong. If you don't have that version, then it may be worthwhile to rethink your team. That being said, I mean, he works. You guys have seen me do this with Kira instead of Vander. consistently being able to take out strong teams and fast teams because dash is pretty quick, and you can just get a really good chain of, being able to go first and everything. Mon Mothma with Kylo Katarn. Mon Mothma, this is the last season of the really awesome Datacron for her, being able to summon Worthless Guy multiple times, etc. This team is very versatile, takes out a lot of different mid-range teams, nothing too crazy. I really do enjoy this team quite a bit, and I think that may be the Datacron that I miss the most when it expires. We have the Newt team on offense, GL Newt on offense, because a lot of people are placing that Qui-Gon Jinn team, and the thing is, you have to be pretty quick. If you're not fast enough, or if you're not, if you can make your Newt really tanky, the thing is, the kind of rule of thumb is if your Newt survives until his turn, and if he doesn't lose his first version of life, if he doesn't lose his first life, then you're going to be able to beat that Qui-Gon team for good banners. If he dies before he gets a turn, you're probably going to, at best, kill just Qui-Gon, and maybe not anyone at all. Vader has a cool new Datacron, and so, he goes well with Tarkin in 5s. You guys have seen some of those crazy videos, I'm sure. Moff Gideon is nice with him just because he can reduce the offense, or he can reduce turn meter on everyone, except for Vader. Vader keeps his turn meter because it can't be reduced. It also reduces damage. This is going to be a very interesting season for Vader, especially in 3s, because he can't, with impunity, just spam his, he can't get an endless loop in 3s. In 5s, he can. In 3s, not so much. Very interested to see if he can just chain it anyways, to some degree, and just solo teams, honestly. We'll have to see. Traya is really good on offense, decent on defense as well. I just, if you don't have a really good Datacron for them or something for defense, then maybe this isn't for you. On defense. On offense, it's just, they kill half the teams out there, maybe even more, for poor banners. Maybe add Thrawn here if you really if you don't care about him being on like your Lord Vader team or whatever. Thrawn is really nice instead of Scion sometimes. Against Padme especially, you get really good banners against that. You also have, I have the Talzin Datacron. I'm really interested to see how that works in 3s. We're going to try this lineup because most of the time, Daka and Zombie are going to be with Kylo. This team can take down a surprising number of things, especially with the Omicron on Asajj. I'm really interested to see how this goes. A lot of question marks for this team going in, but I can't imagine on defense it would do nearly as well because a team like Troopers would just come in, wipe them out before they even got a single turn. On offense, though, I think they have legs. Except for Spirit, who is a Spirit and therefore does not have legs. Basti on offense with Snips and Ezra. if you have Ki-Adi-Mundi, if you decide not to run that really cool Qui-Gon Jinn team on defense, then Ki-Adi-Mundi is crazy on this team. Really nice. You have a couple dispels and everything. Ezra's nice because all 3 of them have a dispel. Ezra hits pretty hard. He double taps. There's a lot of good things to like about this team. Very versatile. Doesn't kill a lot of really high-level teams, but good at cleanups or good at desperation heaves if you're like, I don't know what to do, just because you survived for so long with Basti as lead, and you have a lot of tenacity. The Akbar team, if you have the Omicron, I don't have the one on Leia, but this 3-man team is so good in 3s. Really, this Omicron in 5s, it's okay. Sometimes in 3s, it really shines. Takes out a lot of teams. It can be really fast, especially if the turn meter cron, and if you don't have the turn meter cron, still goes pretty quick. Does a lot of stuff. Calls Leia to shoot a lot. Stormtrooper Han is reducing and increasing and doing all sorts of crazy things with turn meter. You should read his kit sometimes and see how much he impacts turn meter. It's really cool, especially because he has a perpetual taunt because of Akbar and his Omicron. Very cool. I'm really looking forward to using this team. I took out an Admiral Raddus team last season with it, and it was fairly good banners, I believe. Geos, because they're bad on defense, you should put them on offense, guys. You know what Geos do. Malak can solo things. I don't know what to do with Malak. You could put him on defense with Sith Eternal, I guess. You could use him to solo something. You could do a lot of stuff with Malak. He's not as good as either Darth Revan or Dark Basti with Malgus. And so if you have Malgus, then you should be putting DR and Basti with them. And in which case, Darth Malak is like, I don't know. I don't have a chin, and I don't have a place to live. I'm really not sure what to do with myself. And finally, we have Kira with Nest. You can go solo something, or you can keep him for offense flexibility. You can also put Nest with some random team and have Kira go with Dash instead of Vander, though that's a little bit scary. So, what teams do you like on offense, guys? The defense video is going to be available in a couple days or hours. Not sure when it's going to publish, but thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.